Hello! So I'm back again. Second vlog, and this is kind of the one that I'm here really. So I have always wanted to vlog, but never been brave enough to do it because I'm still quite finding this quite nerve-wracking. Just sitting here talking, having my face on camera. I don't really like being in front of a camera. I tend to be behind one more than I am in front of one. So I thought, seeing as I wanted to do it, Cheryl from Mummy of 5 Miracles, her link is going to come up here, tagged me in the hashtag #MumLifeRaw tag this morning. Basically it is 10 or 11 questions, and then you tag another vlogger at the end to take part. So thank you, Cheryl, very much for 1, nominating me, and 2, for getting me to get off my bum and start my YouTube channel and start vlogging. So 11 questions. They are on my phone because I don't have a printer. So, excuse me, I'm just going to read off question number 1. So, number 1, describe your day as a mum today in 1 word. So today, I suppose, has been lazy. I work 2 days a week, Mondays and Tuesdays. Today's Wednesday. So I have just done 2 rather stressful days at work. I work in an NHS dental surgery, which is really busy, really stressful, and not much gets done around the house on my 2 work days because I'm busy working and then mumming when I'm not at work. So Wednesday mornings tend to be a bit lazy. We tend to, have a lazy breakfast, have lots of cups of tea. He watches CBeebies. I tend to catch up on a bit of blogmin, housework. We don't really go out on a Wednesday. It's just been a really lazy day really. So yeah, to sum it up in 1 word, today has been lazy. Question number 2, what's the most challenging part about connecting with other mums? So, meeting other mums. I have written a blog post about this. It was entitled Meeting Other Mums Scarier Than Your First Postpartum Poo. I wasn't a great fan of meeting other mums. When I walked into mum and baby groups, there was already established friend groups. They were really cliquey as you walked in, sort of everybody looked at you like the new person. Some were really welcoming, but for the most part it wasn't my cup of tea at all. For me personally, I was already part of a Facebook group of other pregnant mummies at the same time as me, and we were all due in November 2014. There was about 30 of us. Quite a few of us were from Kent, which is where I live, and I have made quite good friendships out of a couple of the girls in that group. A few of them came to my wedding because I was married 6 months after I had William. And sort of in general really, I suppose the easiest way I found to connect with other mums is through social media, through blogging, things like that really. I've met sort of a couple of Facebook mummies that have kind of put the feelers out saying they wanted to meet mums with the same age children, and we'd gone on a couple of play dates. But for me, that was the best way that I found to connect with other mums. I wasn't keen on going to mummy and baby groups. It was not my thing at all, unless they had a bar, which they didn't. On to question number 3. Share 1 horrible poo moment. We've all been there. Right, poo. It becomes that thing, doesn't it, really? After you've had a baby, all you do is talk about poo. Like me and Hubs, we'd sit there and, devour dinner and be like, oh, has he pooed today? What colour was it? What did it smell like? Oh, it smelled rather dry. He's a bit constipated. We've all had those conversations. I really hope we have anyway. It's not just me. But 1 bad poo moment, I suppose one that sticks in my mind, is he was about 6 months old. He'd had a massive poo in his nappy. I took him upstairs and put him on the change table, and did the thing that you do kind of where, you lay him on the change table, and then I lifted his legs up and, kind of checked to see how bad the damage was. Seeing if it had gone out of the nappy, up the back, out the top of his neck. You never know with baby poos because they just get everywhere. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Baby poo is just vile, and it's like korma. It sticks to everything. It stains. It stinks. It's just not nice. But after a bit of damage limitation, I'd realised that it had not gone too far. It had, you know, it was right on the cusp of coming out the top of the nappy. So I cleaned him up, wiped him down, had a good look, but thought I'd better just check his little bum crack just to make sure it was completely clean, because, you know, you don't want to leave him with any, you know, renegade bits of poo stuck behind. So I lifted his legs up, had a good look, and he sharted in my face. I had his poo in my mouth, up my nose, in my eye. I had to go to the chemist. I had to get some eye wash. Funny enough, I didn't really mind that much. It's funny when it's your own child, isn't it? You don't really care, anything goes. But yeah, I had his poo in my eye and in my mouth. Wasn't the finest moment for me, but yeah, bad poo moment. So question number 4 is, how do you cope with public child meltdowns and tantrums? Well, to be honest, before I had a child, I would be the sort of person, as I think we all were, where I would look at other people and think, my good Lord, look at the child kicking off, you know. Really, I'm quite strict with him, and I like to think that I'm quite disciplined with him, like enforcing discipline. So when we're in town, it makes no difference to me, really. I will still discipline him exactly the same. It doesn't really bother me as such. He has had full-blown meltdowns in the middle of Primark and, you know, the town centre, and it is embarrassing, but what can you do? You know, they're going to do it. Any other parents, for the most part, people will kind of look at you. I have had a few bad comments from people saying, well, you know, what a bad child, and you just think, you know, God, you know, it's my child, not yours. But for the most part, he's pretty good. If it does happen, I just shrug it off, really. Question number 5 is, honestly, how much screen time does your child have? I suppose he does watch quite a lot of TV. I do try and limit it down, so if he's watched quite a lot in the morning, I tend to switch it off in the afternoon. Some days we're just lazy and we watch TV. It is a godsend sometimes if I need to do some housework, or I need to make a phone call, if I need to do something that I just need to occupy him for 5-10 minutes. I can just stick telly on and that occupies him. Most of it's educational for the most part. He does seem to learn quite a lot from it, so I'm not too bothered. Obviously, it's not like I'm, you know, making him watch, I don't know, rubbish, which to us kids programs is, I suppose, but it has to be educational, right? iPad wise, he doesn't have his own iPad, he uses mine. And he doesn't use it that much, really. I don't like him to have, I like him to try and play physically rather than just glue him to an iPad all the time. If we're travelling, if I need to occupy him for 5 minutes, like if I'm at a doctor's appointment or something like that, it is quite handy just to give him the phone and, you know, let him play. But it's not a lot, to be honest. So yeah, I suppose depending on how you look at it, I do try and limit his screen time, really. You know, I do. Question number 6 is, what's your go-to easy dinner that you give at least once a week? Spaghetti bolognese. Every time. I can cook it. Hubs can cook it. I can chuck vegetables in it. It's easy to make. It's filling. The boys, as in husband and son, really like it. It's a winner, really. That's our go-to meal. We have spaghetti bolognese once a week, sometimes even twice, to be honest, because William loves it, but it just makes such a lot of mess. That's the problem. But yeah, spaghetti bolognese is my go-to meal. Question number 7 is, did you yell, cry or struggle today? Yes, to be frank, I did. I suffer with depression. Today has been a bit of a low day to me, to be honest. I cried when I tried to write a blog post this morning about how I was feeling, and it, you know, I did about 3 drafts, and each one I sort of, you know, I just binned them because I couldn't seem to get what I wanted to say across. But the problem is when I write, because I write from the heart, I do find it quite upsetting sometimes. So most of my blog posts that are sort of from the heart and are talking about depression or about things that affect me emotionally, I do cry when I'm writing them. Yelling, yes, I've yelled because the child has trodden Play-Doh into my carpet, and he has just made a mess. So I have yelled. I am on a short fuse today. It's been a struggle today, I suppose. So yeah, to all of the above, yes, I have today, but that's life, isn't it? You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. So yeah. Question number 8. What was the best moment of your day so far as a mum? The cuddles. I am very lucky that my little boy is super affectionate and he does give really good cuddles. So when he comes up to me and he just says, "I love you, mummy," and he gives me a cuddle, it makes my day. I think that I must be doing something right if he can be affectionate, and as hard as it is, it's really nice for him to come up, give me a cuddle, show me affection, and he does it with other family members as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, that's a good part of the day for me. Question number 9. What is your secret guilty pleasure to reward your mum life? Well, I don't suppose it's secret, but I suppose wine is a huge one. I do like a nice glass of wine. After all, my blog is Pass the Prosecco, please. I do like Prosecco. I don't drink as much now as I'd like, or I used to. Hangovers aren't so nice with a small person. But I suppose it's not really a secret guilty pleasure. I can't really think of one of those. But for me, sometimes just to go and hide in a nice bubbly bath, read a book, drink a glass of wine. Yeah, it's a reward for me. But I probably shouldn't reward myself with wine. I suppose it's not very good for you, but I can't give a shit really. I like a nice glass of wine. So that's mine, yeah. Question number 10 is, how often do you experience mum guilt? Every damn day. When I'm at work, I feel guilty that I'm not at home being a mum. When I'm at home being a mum, I feel guilty that I'm not at work earning money. I feel guilty when I tell him off. I feel guilty when, you know, I have to discipline him. I just feel guilty all the time, really. Especially work. Work is a huge thing. And at the moment, I've just joined a gym near me that has a creche. So he can go in there for an hour to 2 hours while I go and work out in the gym. And he starts preschool in September, just before he turns 3. And I know that he needs a stimulation of other children now, and I need to go to the gym because it's good for me. But the guilt, I can't. I always thought it would be a case of I put him in the creche, I'd go up to the gym, put my earphones in, listen to crazy 90s pop music, and just chill out and not worry about what he's doing. But I can't chill out. It's fine when he's at home with hubs at the weekend, but I just get so guilty. And then especially when I go back and he sort of looks like a kid off an NSPCC advert and he's just sort of looking at me, you know. It's not nice, but that's life. That's mum guilt, I suppose. Question number 11 is, share one taboo thing about motherhood you think should be talked about more. So everybody always says that when you become a mum, you know, the first time you meet your baby, there's no feeling quite like that. And childbirth is amazing, and you know how amazing parenthood is. And it's shit, to be honest. Yeah, childbirth is different for everybody, but it's quite normal, whether it be at birth, just before giving birth, you know, at whatever age your child is, to sit there and think, I really don't want this. I don't want to be a parent today. You know, I just want to go and be able to have a poo by myself, or I want to go out and drink myself into a stupor, you know, eat a kebab on the way home and then wallow in a fetid pit of hungover hell for 24 hours after. There's nothing bad about that. There's nothing bad about, you know, wanting your old life back. I always think it's a difficult question. People sort of say, oh, I can't remember what life was like before I became a parent. And I kind of think that's kind of a two-dimensional thing to say, to be honest, because I think I can remember life before I became a parent. I wouldn't want to go back to it now because I love my son more than anything in the world. He's the best thing that ever happened to me, and I wouldn't change it. But I do have moments where I think, like, what did I do before I became a parent? Like, how did I ever used to feel the days? I would love I wish I could go back and make the best of my pre-parent days and do the things that aren't so easy now that I have a baby or I have a toddler. So I would say that's a taboo thing, you know. Sometimes you can be looked down upon and frowned upon for saying, I want my old life back for 2 hours, 3 weeks, whatever. You know, it's even little things like you can get away. Like, I'm really lucky. My husband, you know, we co-parent equally. He can look after William on his own. He's had William overnight on his own before when I've gone to stay with friends or gone out. But even if you go somewhere, you know, I could go away for 2 days, and yet still in the back of my mind, I'm constantly thinking, you know, is he okay? Is he sleeping? You know, is he eating properly? Is he wearing the right clothes? What's he dressed him in? That's a different question. But that sort of thing, really. So I suppose that kind of mum feeling never goes away. But yeah, there is nothing wrong with wanting to be your pre-parent self, and that's a huge thing for me. I think it's a big taboo. So yeah, that's my one. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed what you've listened to. I'm sorry if it's a bit shaky with the camera work and captions and things. This is really new to me and I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. I have to tag someone else now. So a big blogging inspiration for me is a lovely lady called Emma from Emma and Family. Her link will be here. She is one of my Facebook group ladies. Her son, I think there's about 2 days between our boys. I've met her a few times. She's a really lovely lady, and she kind of inspired me into blogging. You know, I kind of always thought it's one of those things that I probably couldn't do, but I kind of, after a conversation one day, just made the jump just to go for it. I love reading her vlogs. She's got loads ranging back through her whole pregnancy, and it's really nice to look back through and see like what we went through. And she has had a bit of a blogging hiatus, so is just getting back into things now. So Emma, I'm tagging you. I look forward to seeing your answers, and yeah, thank you for watching, and I will try and think up something else to vlog about, hopefully get a bit better at it, and I'll be back very soon. Thank you, bye.